Hey, good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Ellie Wyndham, and I'm founder of Walking Other People's Shoes, and I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. And Walking Other People's Shoes strives to empower women of color by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. We're happy that you could join us tonight for the Multicultural Children's Book Club. We're happy that you can enjoy this free book club for children, parents, educators, and anyone who wants a deeper dive into themed activities and concepts around race, identity, and culture. Additionally, we will share shared activities and snack ideas. I want to introduce you to our two facilitators. One is Mia Wenchen, and she is the main facilitator for a book club, and she also blogs on parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. And she is the co-creator for the Multicultural Children's Book Day. And then the nonprofit celebrates diversity in children's book, and she's based in the Boston area. Our second facilitator, who will join us in a little bit, Ruth Perez. She's a sophomore in Lehman College, and she's pursuing a bachelor's in Speech Pathology and Audiology, followed by a master's in Speech Pathology. And these degrees will allow her to continue her work in schools, providing extra support in speech to students with special needs. And she's based in the Bronx. And then you can follow us on our social media, Walking Other People's Shoes, or our website to stay in touch with our programming. And so I just want to introduce Mia next, and she's going to talk about the book of the month, which is really exciting.
Yeah, so I chose That Flag by Tamika Fryer Brown, illustrated by Nicholas Smith. Oh, someone on mute. And it's you'll see when I do like the kind of the book talk, but it's not the US flag, it's a different flag. And then my giveaway, it's not a snack this time, but I brought other books, so we'll be talking about flags and symbolism. So I just have this big sticker pack. It's like 4th of July stickers, but I thought that, it could be the basis for thinking about symbolism and making your own flag. And you could use other things besides stickers to create your own flag, and you could draw things, or you could use stickers from other things. So I went to the library, plus I collected some books. So I'm just going to do a quick like other book talk about flags. So I have this book, Long May She Wave. And there's another book as well called Our Flag Was Still Here. And these are very similar stories. And it's about Caroline Pickersgill. And so she and her daughter, plus her relatives, plus an African-American indentured servant girl, they were the first people to sew the flag. They didn't like design it. That was somebody else. But I thought these stories were really interesting because it's the flag that was used, like in the song, The Flag Was Still There, in the big battle of the War of 1812. But what I found more interesting was that Mary Pickersgill, she was a widow. So her husband died when her daughter was 4. And so she was without income, women didn't work outside of the home at the time. Women didn't own businesses. So here she is, single mom, trying to support herself. And so kind of fell into this like seamstress business, and ended up making flags and other, she sewed other things. But not only that, but she sort of used that as a jumping off point to employ other women in similar situations, like needed employment. So I thought that was a really cool story. Also, June just passed, Juneteenth. So this was a really great picture book that came out by Kim Taylor. It's the whole illustration is quilted, which is interesting because a lot of flags are sewn. And Juneteenth, the flag was a symbol of freedom. So I thought like we could think about that in the back of our head. Juneteenth, which celebrates the end of enslavement, and the flag about symbolizing freedom. And then I pulled this book, Pride, the story of Harvey Milk and the rainbow flag. Another story about for June Pride Month, and the need for a symbol of something positive, because it was in response to Adolf Hitler's making homosexuals wear a symbol of a triangle to, you know what I mean, to identify them and to shame them. And so it was this idea of a flag for Pride Month was very much a deliberate, symbol for rallying. And so that brings us to this book. So I'll read, my favorite pages about this. And so here we see on the cover, we have a flag. We're not sure what it is. We see two girls, both with braided hair, and they're best friends. They are the best of friends. So, here we go. Bianca and I are almost twins. We're the same in so many ways. We both wear our hair in braids. We spend independent reading time together. We play Foursquare better than anyone in our class. We're inseparable. She's my best friend. But only in school. I'm not allowed to go to her house, even though we live on the same street. Kiera, Mom says whenever I go outside, please stay where I can see you. Then she shoots a look that means, don't go anywhere near their yard. I know why. It's because of that flag. Mom and Dad say it's a hate flag, a symbol of violence and oppression. Bianca's parents told her it's a heritage flag, a celebration of courage and pride. What I know is I can't go to any parties or sleepovers at her house, and I can't invite her to mine. So here you see this other flag. You see this is the flag why she can't go see her friend. And so there's a field trip at school. So the whole class is going to go, and Kiera's dad's going to go with them. And it's the Southern Legacy Museum. And, she's walking around with her dad, enjoying everything. She thinks everything's very cool and interesting and entertaining. But her dad's visibly disturbed. And now she's going to learn why. When we come to an auction block, Dad freezes. He's not smiling at all. Neither am I. In silence, Dad and I walk to a glass case filled with old photographs. I see soda fountains, poodle skirts, gigantic cars with fins, dogs and water hoses, scary men in white gowns holding torches and flags. So it's right there in the exhibit. And then she sees that flag. And she's just with her dad. So now she sees her best friend again. Kiera, Bianca runs up to me. I've been looking for you everywhere. She throws her arms around my neck, but I don't hug her back. What's wrong? She asks. My throat feels tight. I'm not sure what to say. I just point to the pictures in the case. Then I walk away. Back on the bus, Dad and I sit up front behind the driver. I stare out the window, remembering those pictures and that flag, my best friend's flag. She's really upset. Later that night, my family and I talk for a long time. They tell me things they've never told me about before. And you can see it's quite a heavy conversation. about the scary things my grandpa saw when he was just a kid. About grandpa being spat on for trying to go to school. About mom and dad getting called bad names and chased by people in a truck. About the Freedom Riders. About Selma. About the Charleston Nine. We talk about the things Black people have to do every day to stay safe. After our talks, I feel scared, confused, and mad, but mostly I'm sad. And then the next day she sees her friend at school and her friend's cheerful and same as ever. And Kira's like, I guess those pictures didn't bother her at all. I guess we're not the same. I guess we're not best friends after all. Because her best friend's just talking about a puppy, just like normal kid stuff. But, look at her, she's shaken and she's just, like, this is like, I don't know, a new way to look at the world. When Mrs. Grayson asks what we learned from our field trip, I say, the Confederate flag is racist? That's not true, Bianca cries. It stands for Southern pride. The Confederacy, Miss Grayson says, fought a war to keep Black people enslaved. Their battle flag is still used by hate groups who want white people to rule. No, Bianca shakes her head. Why would my family fly a flag like that? I don't know, Miss Grayson answers, but it's a good question to ask. And then something happens in their town that's not, it's like terrible. 2 Black people were shot in their own front yard by 3 white men. They show pictures of the men on TV. They're standing in front of that flag, that hate flag. My family and I go to a candlelight vigil to honor the couple that was killed. I look at the crowd. I can't believe my eyes. Bianca and her parents are there. I did not expect her family to come. I wonder why they did. Going home, we see a new house flying that flag. It makes my heart hurt, so I look away. We pass Bianca's house. They've taken theirs down. I can't stop staring. I wonder why they did. So one flag goes down, one flag goes up. As the late bell rings the next morning at school, Bianca passes me a note. You were right. I haven't spoken to Bianca for days. No sharing books or playing Foursquare at recess. But now that flag is gone from her house. So maybe things can be different. Maybe we can be friends after all. I don't know. But I'm willing to see. And so then the end matter talks about the Confederate flag. And we're going to have Tamika Fryer Brown on in 20 minutes, and she can talk more about this book because it is a real interesting story on her journey to get the book published. So I'll make sure to ask her about that. But I thought this was such a great book to center a discussion around because, as you can see, flags can have different meanings to different people, and also how powerful symbols can be, like a flag. And so as we think about the 4th of July and fly flags or, wear flag buttons or put flags up in front of our house, we've always used flags like in history as a symbol to rally, whether it's to denote a group or like a family structure. Like in the Japanese samurai, they used to all have symbols for each clan, or for countries or for, all kinds of things. And so I thought this month we would just think about flags and their symbolism, and when you create and that anyone can create a flag, and that you can give flags different meanings. A flag is really just a design, but it's sort of what meaning you want for that symbol. Like whoever creates it kind of gets to say what this thing means. Although we can see flags popularity, in some cases, like the flag became such a symbol of Pride Month, especially after Harvey Milk was assassinated, that the symbol, as a result, became a symbol of hope and was widely embraced, and even, grew probably beyond his expectations, although it, it cost him his life. So anyway, I just thought 4th of July just passed, and it's so easy just to be like, oh, American flag, put it outside. We used to put little American flags. We used to have 24 of them. And every 4th of July, my husband would get the kids and we put them all in our front yard. And I think that's great too. It's like a symbol of our pride and patriotism, and the kids like waving them. But then I realized, oh, there's so many other flags. And we actually always have a flag, and we have 2 flags in front of our house. We always have a pride flag and a Black Lives Matter flag. I think just as symbols for us that we welcome diversity into our house, and also our neighbors are Black in a pretty white neighborhood. So we definitely, I every time that flag rips from just wear and tear, I always get a new one. And the pride flag, I just think it's a beautiful flag, but also I feel like it's very welcoming because my kids have a lot of LGBTQ friends. And so I just feel like it just says we're a welcoming house. So anyway, I'm a little bit past my time, but yay, we have Ruth. Let us welcome Ruth.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope that you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. I was here in my house cleaning, so I didn't have any plans going out to a barbecue, but I was productive, got some things done. But just to add on to what Mia was saying about flags, for me, what I first expected when I saw the cover of the book is we were going to talk about our most recent flag, right? Not the Confederate flag. So it was a pretty interesting story to me, and just to learn a little bit more about, just to remind myself of the history once again. So what it got me thinking of is times of when me and my family experienced discrimination. Like my parents, they are not native English speakers, right? So sometimes they've been treated differently because of that. But they came to this country because of what our recent flag represents, right? Which is everybody comes after the American dream. They come to work hard to give their children a better opportunity. So I just wanted to quickly open the floor and ask anyone here if they feel like they've experienced any type of discrimination, whether it just be, being a woman, the color of their skin, or any of that.
Oh, I got called names in Boston. It was like a young kid, and it was when I was in college, so that was 35 years ago. But it was very startling because I came from Southern California, and I was just like, what? What are you even saying to me? It was like a racist term for an Asian person. And I was with a friend of mine who's from New York City. He's from Queens, and he's Asian, and he's 6 feet tall. And, the New York City kids are so street smart. And so I just kind of was like, what? And then he just like ignored it because it's just like he had the street smarts just not to get involved.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Crazy. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have an experience or has seen anybody or anyone experience discrimination? Yes.
I can share. I mean, I've written about this on my blog several times about how when I was growing up in the Midwest, I was bullied for being Asian. There weren't many Asians in the town, in the school district, and just being like, I look back and I'm like, these kids were so young. Like this is elementary school, like first, second, third grade, and just being like followed around by these boys that were like harassing me and like calling me names, pulling their eyes up. You know, it really left an impression on me, but not in a good way. You know, really affected my self-esteem at that time. And I had to really work to like have that pride in my heritage, because that kind of took that away, because I didn't know I was like different or other until they pointed it out. So I've really learned a lot from that, but you know, it's unfortunate experience that many of us have had.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I would say, as surprising as it may sound, even within my own family, right? Because I have curly hair. Even though I'm not dark, I'm darker than some of my family who are like pale ghost white. So I remember when I was younger, right? And I didn't know what to do with my curly hair. Like I was just told, like, you should straighten it, like that's what looks better. And I did that all throughout middle school, and I burnt my hair to a crisp. And so I decided to, and so I saw people online, like, through YouTube or influencers who were embracing their curly hair. And I'm like, this is like how God made me. Like I should love myself that way. Even if my grandma is telling me to straighten my hair, that it looks better that way. And thankfully I've learned to love a part of myself that other people are telling me that I shouldn't. So I would say that's also something that I take pride in my heritage. And then Carla, she has her hand raised.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Two things. When I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, I was in the fourth grade, 9 years old, and I was not allowed to walk over to other friends' houses because I was not Mormon. We were Methodist, and we were not allowed Mormon households. But the feeling was that odd and strange thing, and the difference between what happens in school and home. Then in the 1970s, many universities kicked women out of the PhD programs. They were allowed only to get their master's, say in biochemistry and science and things like that. And only the men were allowed to get their doctorates. Wow. And then when I was in Denver in business, there really were not women executives. There was that glass ceiling, very definitely. Fortunately, things have changed.
But not enough. But yeah, and Danielle would probably add to that, because in her comment, she said, as a woman engineer, so many men dismissed my abilities and many assumed I was the secretary. And then Rasika also said, so correct to your comment, Carla. I agree with you, Danielle. I had this experience in a company where I was working that was full of like male managers. So, I mean, I think there's still room. There's still room for improvement.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think, I honestly, from where we were, I would say even like 50 years ago, big difference, right? I think we discussed, if I'm not mistaken, we discussed it here, right? Before, interracial marriage was not allowed. And that was about, I would say 50, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but like about 55 years ago, right? And I would say we've made great stride up to now. And I can't wait to see where we'll be at when I'm in my 50s. So.
But we can measure it in like,
sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, Carla, go ahead.
To me, the tale is salaries. There's still a difference between money.
100%. I was going to say the same thing. And then if you break it down by male versus female, but break it down by like ethnic group, you'll see even more disparities. So it's like, we have to raise up everybody. All the women, we have to like stand together.
Yeah, honestly, I believe it's a lot of education, providing education, and also financial literacy, right?
I think mentoring, like, I think we have to mentor women to get into positions of power.
Yeah, I agree. So to move on, thank you everyone for sharing. To move on into our activity, what we're gonna need is a white piece of paper or loose leaf, whatever y'all have around, a piece of paper, and as always, some crayons or a pencil, some color. Ooh, Ellie can prepare today.
Which is amazing because she just moved.
Yes.
I just found them.
Oh, he's just. Mhm. And then everybody can just give me a thumbs up when I have it. I see Carlos probably in search of her materials. All right, everybody's ready. We're just waiting for Carla. Oh, there she is. Okay, she is ready. Ready. So there is going to be two parts of for our little project activity. So, ooh, it is blurry, but we've discussed some discrimination that we have encountered or experienced, right? So on the first part, that's what we're gonna draw out here. We're gonna draw out that experience, right? How it made us feel. That's something we were able to see in the book, right? She talked a lot about her feelings. She felt sad, she felt confused, angry. Um, and it's important that we remember our feelings, right? That we don't just cast them aside, but that we reflect on them. But in life, I think there's also always positive things, right? We don't just want to stay in the past. You also want to look to where we've progressed, right? What are some amazing things that we've been able to accomplish, right? Like say for example, at least for me, something that in my family hasn't been accomplished is a college education. I'm the first in my family, right? That's in our ethnicity or ethnic background, that's something that there's not such high rates of. So that's something I'm proud of myself for, right? And I want to push other individuals like myself, other women like myself that are in my position to go on ahead and pursue studying in higher education. So that is going to be the second part, and then we can just share on once we're done. Did that make sense to everybody? Or does anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
So just to recap, the first one, you have to draw what?
So in the first part is we talked about like when we experience some sort of discrimination. Right. So for example, it can even be about yourself, right? Like colorism or your ethnicity or your culture. Like I was saying, like for me personally, I haven't been called names by anyone, but within my own family, I've been told like about my curly hair, right? I would say not just not discrimination so much, but a part of like neglect about myself was like the way you look isn't the best. Like you should try to change how you look in order to fit in and to look better. And that's what I was told when I was younger, right? So that's what I'm saying we're gonna draw here. But like for example, Mia, she said that she was called a slur when she was in college. So there's different forms of discrimination, I would think. That's what we're gonna do in the first part. And the second part, I would say it's a form of overcoming or showing our accomplishment, right? That we've been able to surpass that. So the example I gave is like me being able to go into college and whatnot. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Tamika Fryer Brown is in the house.
Hey, everybody, how are you?
We're just
Hello,
we're gonna be maybe another 6 minutes working on the art project with Ruth. But we're so excited to have you. Thank you for being here.
Awesomeness. Glad to be here.
So Ruth's project is a piece of paper folded in half. One side, people are drawing like how they felt if they faced any kind of discrimination or negative comments about the way they look. And then the other side is sort of like what they achieved, what they're proud of. Like, so what they faced and then what they overcame. And then Ruth's example was in her family, she's pretty dark compared to her family, like colorism wise, and her hair is very curly. And so her grandmother always tells her to straighten her hair, you know, maybe stay out of the sun. I'm not sure if they say that as well. But, and so she did straighten her hair all through middle school. But then since then, she's learned to embrace her curly hair and just the way she's beautiful.
Yes, she
But
is.
also, she's the first to college in her family. And she's also she'll be pursuing a master's degree, and she's specifically doing speech pathology and audiology because she wants to help children overcome obstacles. So Ruth is amazing.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
And so that is that's the project that we're thinking about. And then earlier I had shared other books about flags that were, where's my other one? Flags as symbolism. And also, in this case, how the flag was a source of income for women who were widowed and had no means to support their children and family. And then we also talked about how things are better now, but still, there's still like, wage disparity and glass ceilings for women, and definite wage disparities within women, within people of color, certain ethnicities within women. Like you see bigger wage gaps, and that, we still have a ways to go in terms of, equality in the workplace, even though now we can work outside the home, we can own our own businesses, which wasn't true, 200 years ago, but it's still
a lot left to be done and improved. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I just feel like, we'll get into your book soon, but I just feel like what a great, like all this came out of just talking about flags and reading your book, which I only do part of it, but just a jumping off point of discussion and thinking about symbols and what they mean. And, because we've had symbols as flags for thousands of years.
For sure.
So anyway, I just thought, just on the, on the backside of July 4th, it's so great just not to take a symbol for granted and like think about it, peel away the layers and
look at it holistically.
Yeah. So while they'll draw, I'll say, I just read this book, and it was, so tragic that Harvey Milk like literally lost his life, was assassinated. And he was the one who came up with an idea of a symbolism for gay pride, and he got his friend to create the pride flag. But after he lost his life, because of a hate crime, it sort of grew probably beyond his wildest expectations. I mean, I don't think he needed to lose his life for that, but
right.
But like you couldn't stop it. And also
that's
how Juneteenth, which is also a June celebration, is a symbol of freedom from, and, I didn't even realize, honestly, until Juneteenth became a holiday and we had Carol Boston Weatherford, I think 2 years ago, like maybe our second one ever, one of these ever. that there was even a flag. I didn't, you know what I mean? Because I knew
Right.
so little about, I barely knew about Juneteenth, only from blogging,
Mhm.
before it became a federal holiday. But I had no idea there was an actual flag. So that was, and that for that time, we actually made a Juneteenth flag, which was
Nice.
really cool. But
Yeah. A lot of us have learned a lot about Juneteenth, including me, over the past several years. And so, yeah, because I mean, we aren't taught, history from through a holistic lens. And so we, as adults who are taking it upon ourselves and to educate ourselves and our children, we're learning more and more every day about these types of things and holidays and history and figures who have contributed to our country, what it is, good, bad, and different. We're learning so much more these days. So yeah.
right. I think Ruth is gonna wrap up and have everyone share.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, and can't wait to hear more from you. So I just wanted to quickly share. I mean, I already discussed, and as you guys know, I am not the best artist here. Oh boy, it is blurry. Let's see. Yes, no, it's still blurry, right? Oh
Yeah,
boy.
Maybe some other people want to
If I
share.
turn off the blur, you guys might see the mess behind me. But
That's
what I
okay.
do have, what I did draw, like I already told you and mentioned to you guys, it was saying when I was in middle school, I had curly hair, and I made a pact to myself that I would go to school with my hair straight until for the rest of my life. That's a pact I made to myself at 13. And then I burnt my hair to a crisp with my flyer. So then I started my natural hair journey. So I chopped it off and I decided to, just embrace who I am and let it grow, right? So I remember I would cry when I was younger because I didn't know what to do with my hair. And plus I had my grandmother telling me, like, and in Spanish they say pelo malo, like that's what they'll call it, bad hair. And, as a child, you're like, well, I didn't choose to be born this way, right? Like, what do you mean I look awful? So that was something that was ingrained in me as a young child, and thankfully I've been able to overcome and push other women to embrace their natural beauty as well. And then on the other side, as I was talking about overcoming that discrimination and being able to build up my self-esteem. Now I'm in university college. I graduate next year, God willing, and will be pursuing my master's, first in my family to do so. So I'm very happy that I've been able to achieve that. And just knowing that it doesn't matter what people think of you, right? The important thing is that you believe in yourself, that you push yourself forward and not. So would anybody else like to share what they drew? Yes, Maria, go ahead.
Okay, so she's going to do it first. Coach, can you turn it around and read at the same time? Is that, I can't, you can't see my writing. Yeah, I'll hold it and you read it, okay? It's kind of hard. Okay, here, read.
So when I was in 6th or 3rd grade,
Wait, not sixth
Wait,
or
no.
third grade, second grade.
someone had made fun of me and I felt bad. He made fun of my last name. He was a boy. And
So what does it say? I said, I felt bad.
when a boy made fun of me.
And she has a sad face there.
Wah.
And then on this side, then.
But I realized I should be proud of my last name.
But I realized I should be proud of my last name. That she drew a happy face.
Excellent.
Yes.
I love that.
There's so much history behind last names. Yes, so definitely embrace that. Thank you so much for sharing. And Carla, she has her hand raised as well.
Okay. When I was in the 4th grade, I was not allowed in my friend's yard or house because we were Methodist and they were Mormon. So the first one is just, I felt so alone and confused and so very, very, very sad. Now, my first book is about a little boy adopting a puppy. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get this. Okay, so the puppy's just a mutt. I could make the boy Latino. I could make the foster parents Native American. I'm Cherokee, because people think Native Americans are extinct like dinosaurs. And here in Montana, and especially out west, and I grew up in Denver, there's a lot of prejudice against Native Americans. So anyhow, I can put people in my books in activities of daily life. They're veterinarians, they're doing normal stuff, just normal stuff.
That's fantastic. What is your book called?
And I can own my own business and an LLC and publish like Darcy Pattison. Darcy was a speech pathologist before she started kids' books.
Oh, okay. What was it? You said Darcy who?
Darcy Pattison. I can share it in the chat, or I can share my screen and give the websites. But yes, her book, Diego on the Giant Tortoises, won one of the best books of 2022, and she's won the Science Teachers Awards forever. So a lot of earth
Thank you so
science
much.
stuff.
I just wrote down her name. I'm going to be looking her up afterwards. Thank
What is her
you.
name again?
Darcy Pattison. Can I share my screen right quick because I've got the websites, or you want me to just put it in chat?
If you want, you could put it in the chat, and that way we can all access it later on.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And anybody else? No? Okay, well then, we'll open the floor up to Tamika. And yeah, I believe you will take over this. Well, if anybody wants to ask any questions.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a advantage because Tamika Fryer Brown was interviewed for Multicultural Children's Book IG Live. So that's why I was thrilled to learn about her and her story. But I thought maybe Tamika could tell us what was the journey to getting this book published? Because I found that to be fascinating.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be here with everybody. This book, That Flag, was originally written in 2015. And I wrote it after the Charleston church shootings, where the 9 churchgoers during Bible study were murdered by a white supremacist who said later on that he had been trying to start a race war. And so, that was, of course, a very distressing event, but also distressing was the public conversation that started being had immediately following about the Confederate flag, because the murderer was seen on his social media kind of brandishing the Confederate flag in multiple pictures, sometimes holding also an automatic, weapon of war. And so there was this debate that happened, and it was like, well, is the Confederate flag really a hate symbol or, associated with white supremacy, or is it just about Southern heritage and Southern pride? And the fact that, still at that point in 2015 and still to this day in 2023, people were still confused, ignoring what the flag really was about, that was also distressing for me. And so I said, I need to write the story and write it for our younger, human beings, so that they won't be confused and that they will know what the history of this flag is, how it came to be, and how it has been used throughout our history. And so that's, what motivated me to write the story.
And what happened when you first put it on submissions?
Yeah, so I wrote it in 2015, and we sent it out, and I had to kind of encourage my agent at the time to send it out, because she didn't quite think there was a market for it, but I thought that there was meaning in it. And so I encouraged her, and she sent it out, and nobody wanted to buy it. No publisher wanted to touch it. And so, I guess she was right at the moment. So we put it away. I put it away. And then over the course of the next several years, I got another agent, and then 2020 occurred. And we all, a lot of us remember in 2020, there was George Floyd. There was supposedly this racial reckoning and awakening that happened. And at that point, I sent it back out, and there was a bidding war because, people were ready for it. Perspective had changed, or at least we thought it had changed. It had changed for some folks, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's published by Harper.
Yes,
Harper
HarperCollins,
Collins.
yes.
So
Ended up being the
that's-
publisher.
So, a major publisher, one of the big
Yes.
ones.
Yes, for sure. And my editor, actually the one who ended up, winning the bid, is also an African-American woman. And so that ended up, the other person that was in contention, I really love her. I've got other books with her as well. But I think for this particular project, that worked really well because there were just some things that I didn't have to explain. We were already simpatico on the importance of it, why it was important to say things a certain way, to communicate certain things in the story. So that was, that was really cool.
Did you choose the winning editor because of that, or was that just sort of the
It was a factor, but
made
it wasn't the
sense.
only factor. Yeah.
And just the way you crafted the story, you make it very sympathetic to both perspectives. And what is the story behind the story of how you crafted such a story that it's easy for everyone to read it? It isn't just like, oh, I'm gonna, it's gonna make me feel bad about myself. You know what I mean? If I'm a white person, I'm just gonna feel bad. But you gave everyone space and grace, and the ability to change and learn. How did you end up framing that story or getting that structure?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for noting that. And I think it's because I truly believe that some people can change. I believe that there are some people out there about this particular issue, the Confederate flag, who really are, celebrating it and holding it up based on a level of ignorance. Now, not everybody, some people know exactly what the history of that flag is and why they're doing it, kind of in service of white supremacy, to be sure. But there are other people. I'm from the South, and I know that there are other people, white people, that just are going by what they've always been taught, that this symbol is about Southern heritage and Southern pride. And they believe that, and they kind of think anybody who starts to communicate something else, they're the ones who don't really know. And they want to just believe what their loved ones have told them. So there's a lot wrapped up into that. And I understood that. And I think when you're communicating something, you're doing, you can either communicate to convict or to convince, right? And there's a place for both, to be quite honest. But for me, I wanted to reach those people. And now this is when I'm talking about, first of all, I wanted to, for Black kids, Black families, I wanted them to not feel gaslit, because a lot of times we can feel gaslit about these types of topics. Oh, you're making a big deal out of it or whatever. So I wanted to show the history, this is why it's scary for us. This is why your families, your adults, like my adults when I was a kid, said, be careful. If you see that's kind of connotes danger, stay away from those people or whatever. So I wanted to explain that. But then for the, white children and their adults, their families, I wanted to, like you say, give space and convince, not necessarily convict. I wanted to lay the case out as to why this flag is indeed and always has been, it was born out of white supremacy. And I want to give the facts. And then I wanted to just say on top of that, and this is how it makes us feel, your neighbors, the people that you say you really don't have any ill will towards, this is just Southern heritage and Southern pride. This is how it makes us feel. And I wanted to like share it with that spirit. And so again, to communicate, to convince more so than to convict.
And now in this era of challenge books and banned books, how are you or is this book facing a lot of battles? And can you talk about that?
Yes. So far, no.
Which is amazing, right?
It's amazing.
Are you like shocked?
I'm shocked. I'm wondering if people just don't know, enough people don't know that it exists yet. That may be one thing. And then I think also there may be another strategy out there, kind of like that. Well, first of all, there's the soft censorship, right? So I'm from Miami. And I have noticed, some of us authors, when we have a book come out, we start Googling and say, okay, where's our book? And so I've looked at my my home state library, and it's not in the Miami-Dade Public Library. And they've got other books of mine. I've done virtual activities for them, in-person activities for them. I did one on Shirley Chisholm. So they know the book exists, but they may be soft censoring themselves because they know, the environment that they're operating in. And so I think there may be some of that going on, but none of the, so far I haven't showed up on any banned book list that I know of. So
it came out in 2023, what month?
January, at the last day of January.
So yeah, enough time to get into the libraries.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So it's in a lot of libraries, but I just, I recognize the fact that, it's not in Miami, and it's not because they don't know about it, because I've told them about it. So
the one thing that we can do to be allies is we can all request this book in our library system.
Yes.
Sometimes I request my own books. I check it out. As I walk out the door, I put it back in the return bin. Just there's demand for my own book. But I think I purchased this copy, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to request it. I mean, like in Boston and Newton, it's going to be widely available, but I think it's just important symbolism. And the other thing we can do is we can leave 5-star reviews, Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, many places.
Absolutely. That helps a great deal.
That helps a lot. Helps a lot. So I don't always do that myself because I just forget, but I'm going to make a point to do it after our thing because,
thank you.
This is the kind of book that needs to be found. You know what I mean? And people need to fight so that kids get access to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. I agree. This book, other books out there like it, we've got to teach the truth, and we've got to be committed to teach it in a holistic way. Our history is not all of one thing or another, and we have to teach it honestly. And being a patriot and someone who loves the country doesn't mean that you're going to ignore all of the challenging history that we've had, because how can we learn to be better, move forward together, grow in a positive way if we don't learn from our history and the mistakes that we've made? You got to learn from your mistakes, and to learn from your mistakes, you have to know what they are. And so, it's so important to teach our children the truth, and from a young age. And one of the things that I'm proud about, the feedback that I'm getting from that flag, and I was very careful and intentional about doing it, is writing this story in an age appropriate way.
Yes.
Where kids
and illustrated in an age appropriate way as well, I would say.
Yes, Nicholas Smith did an amazing job.
Amazing job.
Amazing.
We only have a few more minutes. I want to hear more about your other books and what you all have coming.
Okay. Well, in the past 6 or 7 months, I had 3 books come out. One was
Can you show us like titles and like a quick little synopsis?
Okay. Quick one. This is Not Done Yet, Shirley Chisholm's Fight for Change. This is my first only nonfiction picture book. and it's about our amazing ancestor, Congresswoman Shirley A. Chisholm, who was also the first Black person or woman to seriously run for the presidency. And so this is about her fighting spirit, and also communicates to kids that, hey, you know, we all are beneficiaries of her legacy, and her work is not done yet, and we're just the people to finish it. So that's this one.
Amazing. And they came out
In
last year?
November.
Oh, wow.
November.
You're on fire. You're like a rising superstar.
Well, first of all, thank you. I don't know about all that, but you know, you write the books in different times, and it just so happened that all three of these books came out around the same time. So this being the third one, 12 Dinging Doorbells. And this is a funny book about Black family gatherings. And it's inspired by the 12 Days of Christmas, you know, rhythm and tune. And so that's this one.
It's kind of like a family feast, right? Like a
Yes.
dinner.
Yes, there's family feast, all kinds of food, laughing, but the main plot is that the little girl, her grandma makes a sweet potato pie just for her, but it gets to be, the more the house fills up, it gets to kind of be in danger, and people keep trying to take and eat her sweet potato pie, and then something happens. So, and then she's sad, but then it ends up on a happy note with a granny coming through to save the day. So that's this one. And
multi-generational food. I love it.
Lots of food. We got, yes, and it's culture rich, because there's lots of food and activities and things that are you know, that are always present in Black family gatherings. And that one, even though it's set to or inspired by the 12 Days of Christmas tune, it's really in every holiday carol. It's not holiday specific. So, you know, it's appropriate for the summer with the family reunions and, you know, all year long. That's that book. And this one is Brown Baby Lullaby, which is a board book.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, I got the two versions, the hardcover, but now it's a board book.
Fantastic.
And this is just a way to love on little sweet brown babies. And it's got Spanish interspersed throughout it. So yeah, those are the ones that I have right here. Besides.
And what do you have coming, or what are you working
Yes.
on, if you can say?
Yes, so I have a book coming out called All the Greatness in You. And it's something of a follow-up to Brown Baby Lullaby, where that one celebrates, you know, just our babies and loves on them in book form. All the Greatness in You kind of honors the growing up of a child and their growing independence. And instead of saying, oh, I wish you were a baby, it's saying, go you, you're doing such great stuff. Never forget all the power that lies within you. So that's that book. And then I just sold another one. But I can't say what it is yet.
Picture book. Though.
Yeah, another picture book. They're all picture books. All the Greatness in You comes out in 2024, and this one hopefully will come out in 2025.
Can you hint at the theme?
Okay, well, actually, it is about prayer. I'll just go ahead and tell y'all. Y'all got to keep it quiet. My editor for Brown Baby Lullaby and All the Greatness in You, I heard through the grapevine that she was looking for a book on prayer from a Christian perspective, and I'm a Christian. So I was like, I heard through the grapevine, you're looking for this book. How about I try to write it? And she was like, okay, you go ahead and try to write it. And so I'm so excited that she loved it. And, you know, as they passed the books around inside, she said a lot of feedback was, you know, people with young kids, this is the book I wish that our religious relatives had bought us this one.
Oh,
versus the kind of hokey ones. But that's her word, not mine. So yeah, I'm excited.
Fantastic. And you must still be writing away.
I am. I'm still writing, and you know, yeah.
We can expect a lot more. And there's other books earlier than those other three.
Are you saying the next two that I have coming out? It's
okay. Do you have books
before those
like older?
Yes, my Cold Plum Lemon Pie Bluesy Mood. I do have this one here. This is a book about feelings. A boy named Jamie who's kind of in his feelings one particular day, but instead of expressing them with plain old boring words, he uses an interesting way to do it. he expresses his moods and feelings through colors and
Fantastic.
other sensory rich language like sight, sound, taste. So that's
Awesome.
this one.
So we're,
And
sorry, we're coming up, we're a little over, sorry.
okay,
But I
okay.
know Ellie wants to announce the winner and I want to mail the winner the prize, which is the book and the stickers. And then also next month we'll be using Yellow Butterfly, a story from Ukraine. Alexander Shatokin lives in Kyiv in the Ukraine, which is still, not the safest place. So we're going to have Red Comet Press, Angus Ewan Killick will be in his stead to talk about this book, the story of war and hope, and also other Red Comet Press books. I'll actually be in Singapore, take my daughter to a semester abroad. So Leanna will be filling in for me, but it'll be fantastic because she fills in before. She's amazing.
Yes.
Ellie?
Yes, so we have a newcomer and her name is Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. Sharon
Sharon,
is my friend.
Oh, yay, Sharon. Thank you.
congratulations.
So Ellie will email you, and then if you just give Ellie your mailing address, I will put it in the mail tomorrow so that you can use it for if you want to do anything with it in the month of July.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do work in an elementary school, and I am always looking for books to help our students feel seen and recognized. And I did take down some notes when you were talking about the other books about flags. Yes. Yes. Because, yes. Sometimes we don't know what it will take for a student to feel seen or recognized, right? So I'm just really appreciative, and I will put those to very good use. I still have another month before school goes back in session, so give me a little time.
Well, thank you to all the teachers out there. You guys have the most important job, and it's been a few tougher years than usual. So thank you for all that you do.
You're right. We want everybody to feel seen and respected and heard and included.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm so glad you guys could all join us tonight. And hopefully we'll see you next month. And thank you, Tamika, for sharing your story on getting this amazing book to be published in shelves, on shelves. That's really important. And thank you for all our, wonderful group that comes every month and just continue to learn about diversity through children's books. So thank you, Ruth, Mia, for helping to facilitate this tonight. So we'll see you soon. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming on a kind of vacation week.
Take care. Have a good night. Bye.